Hello, I'm Entrilissimo and Way from Keyboard. This week, YouTube is introducing a subscription model to avoid watching ads on YouTube. So, YouTube traditionally has got all of its money or income from adverts, and YouTube is owned by Google, so I'm going to use the two terms pretty much interchangeably. Google is based entirely off its adverts. It has a few revenue streams outside of adverts, but most of the money that Google gets, it gets from adverts. And YouTube is a facet of that. They like their adverts, it's how they get their money. But they have recently announced, and by recently I mean last night in an email I got, they're going to be introducing this subscription system. They haven't said how much it will cost, but I have seen some people alluding to it costing $10. I don't know where they got that figure though. $10 per month to avoid watching adverts on YouTube. And this is something that's been asked for a while. And it could be seen as a move to be like, okay, well, people don't want to watch adverts, so we'll give it to them. It could be that sort of, well, you know, consumers want it, we'll give it. Personally, though, I see a kind of a different angle to it. So, YouTube Kids launched a few months ago. This is basically YouTube, but deliberately, specifically for kids. It's basically aimed at a younger demographic, a bit more restrictive about what can be on there. But there's a bit of palaver if you saw some of the news websites the last couple of days saying, oh, there's been complaints to the Federal Trade Commission because they're targeting adverts at kids. Now, it has to be pointed out that the Federal Trade Commission doesn't really, or at least as far as I understand it, administrate and sort of regulate adverts on websites. It traditionally does things like TV, films, radio, or whatever. You know, the internet's a wild west when it comes to law because the law is still 20 years behind time. But there were a number of complaints to them about the fact that YouTube targets adverts at kids on the YouTube Kids app. Now, this is a bit of an iffy situation. I honestly don't know where I'm going to come down on this. YouTube needs to get money, right? So they need to have some way of getting money in. Either they can target adverts at you, and if it's the YouTube Kids app, then obviously it's going to be adverts targeted at kids. And yeah, it feels a bit weird to have, you know, adverts deliberately trying to get your 6-year-old to pester your parents or their parents about buying whatever the latest Action Man toy is or whatever they're buying these days. That seems a bit weird, but also equally you can't really expect you to target a $10 subscription model at kids. It seems a bit of a weird situation because a lot of people won't pay a subscription model. Subscription models don't tend to work very well on the internet in a lot of cases. Optionally, yes. So I actually see it as YouTube going, right, well, this could be problematic. We'll see which way it goes, but we'll hedge our bets. Maybe we'll introduce a subscription model. Now, the problem with that point of view is, and that assumption about why they're doing it, is because the subscription model only got announced yesterday, but it must have been in the works for quite a while because, you know, big change to something as vast as Google's YouTube is probably going to take them a while to figure out. Secondly, the FTC complaint has only really got any publicity in the last couple of days, so I don't know if it was something they were probably very much thinking about, and then they're like, okay, maybe we should announce this now. It's certainly one way to consider it, that they're trying to hedge their bets just in case they end up going, right, well, this YouTube Kids thing, we can't do adverts on this anymore, or whether they end up getting very restricted on it. So, that's that part. Anyway, the money from YouTube, from its adverts, basically every time you watch an advert, a tiny portion of that, and by tiny portion I mean 55%, goes to the creator if they have the monetization enabled, they're a partner of YouTube, and 45% goes to YouTube. This has to be noted, right? I'm going to be completely biased here because, of course, you know, I live off that money that I get from YouTube. This is very low compared to other things on the internet. Most things on the internet tend to be about a 70-30 split, whereas what we're getting from YouTube as content creators is about 55-45 split. So there's a big difference there. I mean, Steam, for instance, you know, Steam is also something with an equal monopoly on, you know, a certain realm, this time online games as opposed to online videos. Steam is 70-30. Not that they actually want you to know that or publicize it, but it does appear to be that Steam's 70-30. So YouTube being 55-45 is a little bit, but hey, unbiased. Anyway, the money getting from YouTube from adverts has been dropping off or leveling out recently. So might be some way of them to try to buoy their business. The problem is they might end up undercutting it. People might be like, well, I'm not going to buy an advert on YouTube because no one's going to see it because people have got this subscription thing. Maybe that'll be their reasoning. We don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it works out. But the way that it will work is that 45% of the subscription fee goes to YouTube. Easy enough. 55% of the subscription fee gets split among the videos people watch. So if they watch, you know, a lot of my videos, then I'll get a large share of that 55% of their subscription fee. If they watch a lot of, I don't know, Shed Science, a lot of that will go there. If they watch a lot of CGP Grey, a lot of it will go there. And it's split fairly, reasonably based on watch time or views among the rest of the people who they watch videos of. So basically that 55% is being shared just like advertising revenue. I think this is a pretty fair way of doing it. Some people are a bit like, oh no, the sky's falling about it. I don't really see that. It seems to be a pretty standard way. Now, I wouldn't say it's fair. I think it's maybe still underpriced, as are YouTube adverts. YouTube adverts don't really give enough to the creator, I think, but then again, I'm biased. But I would say that it's pretty much a direct, or as direct as possible, a copy of their advertising sharing method. I don't see a problem with it. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. Right, so a subscription fee of $10 a month, or whatever it is, to not see adverts on YouTube doesn't really make sense in a world where adblock is becoming more and more common. And let me just say about adblock, that adblock is a way of not watching adverts on YouTube. Problem is, it doesn't give any money to the content creator or to YouTube, but it does exist. And the fact that they're like, well, you can pay $10 a month not to see adverts, people are just going to be like, well, I could just install adblock. So there needs to be some sort of give and take there. It doesn't make sense to me because people do use adblock, and that is one of the reasons why money content creators are getting is kind of dropping. It's because adblock is becoming more and more prevalent. So saying, oh, well, we want money every month so you don't watch adverts in a world where people can quite easily do that anyway, doesn't make sense to me unless they start blocking adblock. And this is something that a lot of websites have done, places like Hulu. If you try to use adblock on Hulu, Hulu just is like, yeah, you're not watching my content. So it's a bit of a tricky situation. I don't know how in cases like YouTube Kids, people should be paid because people won't pay a monthly fee, or at least most people won't pay a monthly fee. But also equally targeting adverts to kids is a little bit, I don't know if there's a word for that. It's just a bit disconcerting. But in cases like, YouTube itself, I don't know what they're going to do with this subscription fee. It only really makes sense if they do follow up with blocking adblock, and if they don't, they're probably going to see more usage of adblock, which will only harm them, which they're starting to see a leveling out of advert trends already. So I have no idea, but that's what's happening on YouTube. And yes, you might be like, well, isn't this a gaming channel? Aren't we talking about gaming? Yeah, but you're also watching YouTube, so I suspect you probably want to know stuff about YouTube as well. Maybe not. You probably wouldn't have got this far if you didn't care. Anyway, I've been Elysium. Hopefully you found this interesting, enlightening, or whatever. If you have, discussion points or whatever, please put them in a comment and be fair and talkative and stuff. Because, I don't know the solution to especially the YouTube Kids thing. I don't know what to do about that. But anyway, until next time, if you found this interesting, whatever, like and subscribe. Especially the fact that this is technically a news series, although it's basically IRL News rebranded to AFK News because it's away from keyboard and there was a gap. So, meh. Anyway, till next time, stay shiny.